In a cozy house in London lived 3 children named Wendy, John, and Michael. They loved bedtime stories, especially the ones about Peter Pan. Every night, Wendy would tell tales of Peter's adventures. Their dog Nana always watched over them. One magical night, Peter Pan flew into their nursery window. He was searching for his shadow, which he had left behind. Tinker Bell, his tiny fairy friend, twinkled beside him. Wendy woke up and saw them floating. Peter told Wendy about Neverland, a place where children never grow up. He invited Wendy, John, and Michael to fly with him. They sprinkled fairy dust and sought happy thoughts. Suddenly, they all began to float into the air. Out of the window they flew, over the rooftops of London. They soared above the clouds under a sky full of stars. The city lights sparkled far below. The children laughed as they held Peter's hand. Soon they reached Neverland, full of forests and sparkling seas. Mermaids splashed in lagoons and fairies danced in the trees. The lost boys cheered when Peter returned. They were excited to meet Wendy and her brothers. Captain Hook, a pirate with a hook for a hand, was Peter's enemy. He sailed on a ship called the Jolly Roger. Hook was always trying to catch Peter Pan. He feared the sound of a ticking clock. This clock ticked inside a giant crocodile that had once eaten Hook's hand. The crocodile followed Hook everywhere, hoping to eat the rest of him. Whenever Hook heard ticking, he ran in fear. The children found this both funny and scary. Peter brought the children to his secret hideout under the trees. They had cozy beds made of leaves and soft moss. Wendy began telling stories to the lost boys. They loved her gentle voice and kind heart. Wendy became like a mother to all the boys. She made sure they brushed their teeth and ate their food. She sang lullabies each night. The boys adored her more and more. John and Michael learned to play with wooden swords. They imagined battles against pirates and flew through the trees. They chased shadows and rode on the backs of giant birds. Neverland was a place of endless fun. But not everything was safe in Neverland. Hook and his pirates were always nearby. They watched from the shadows, planning to capture Peter and his friends. One day, they kidnapped Tinker Bell. Peter was heartbroken when he realized Tinker Bell was gone. He searched every corner of the island. With the help of Wendy and the boys, he followed the trail. They found clues leading to Hook's ship. Hook was cruel and sneaky. He locked Tinker Bell in a lantern and laughed. He planned to set a trap for Peter, but Tinker Bell used her tiny light to signal for help. Peter saw her light blinking from the ship. He flew silently over the water and snuck aboard. With clever tricks, he freed Tinker Bell. Together, they planned to rescue the others. Hook had captured Wendy, John, Michael, and the lost boys. He tied them up and told them to walk the plank. They were afraid, but they believed Peter would come. Just then, Peter swooped down like a flash. He fought Hook with his sword, moving quickly through the air. Sparks flew as their blades clashed. The children cheered from the deck. Tinker Bell flew around and distracted the pirates. Peter tricked Hook into stepping near the edge. Suddenly, the ticking sound filled the air. The crocodile appeared, hungry and waiting. Hook screamed and jumped into the sea. The pirates fled in fear, rowing away as fast as they could. Peter untied the children and gave them all a hug. They danced and sang across the ship. The Jolly Roger now belonged to Peter Pan. Wendy looked at the stars and felt a little homesick. She missed her parents and her warm bed. Peter saw the sadness in her eyes. He knew it was time to take them home. Peter asked Tinker Bell to sprinkle fairy dust once more. They all held hands and thought of the happiest things. Up into the sky they soared again. Neverland grew smaller behind them. They flew back to their nursery window in London. Everything was just as they had left it. Their parents were overjoyed to see them safe. Wendy hugged her mother tightly. Peter stayed outside the window, smiling quietly. He knew he could not stay in the grown-up world. Wendy promised she would never forget him. She watched as he flew off into the stars. Years went by, and Wendy grew up, but she always remembered Peter Pan. Sometimes she would dream of Neverland. She told her own children stories of the boy who never grew up. Peter visited her window once more, hoping to take her back. But Wendy was too big to fly now. She introduced him to her daughter, who had the same sparkle. Peter took the child's hand and flew away. Every generation had a child who dreamed of Peter Pan. They flew with him to Neverland in their sleep. The stories lived on in every bedtime whisper. Peter's laughter echoed in the wind. The stars above twinkled like fairy dust. Children everywhere listened for the sound of flying. In their dreams, they joined Peter and the lost boys. Neverland waited for them with open arms. So if you ever hear a soft tap at your window, don't be afraid. It might be Peter Pan, ready to fly. Close your eyes, think happy thoughts, and believe. You too can visit Neverland tonight. The magic of Peter Pan lives in every child's heart. It shines when we imagine and when we dream. The world becomes brighter with wonder, and bedtime becomes a doorway to adventure. Let the night carry you gently on the wind. Let your dreams sparkle like stars in the sky. And remember, growing up is optional. In your heart, you can always fly.